Hello, everybody. I'm Jaret Reddick, and this is a podcast. Jaret Goes to the Movies. Hopefully you have seen or heard one of my many musical endeavors. And if you have, then you know how much I love movies. This is movie commentary with no movie knowledge. This podcast is me and my friend Rich talking about movies that we like. But my name's on it because I'm famous. This is Jaret Goes to the Movies. Still. Okay, we're starting now. Hello, everybody. We've done it. Here we are. It's my first ever Jaret Goes to the Movies. I do have a sidekick, and he's also my producer and my director and my confidant. And the dude who is making all of this happen, because ordinarily when we're taping this, I would be watching Forensic Files with my fiance or some sort of either Project Runway or the drag queen show. I like the drag queen show. What's the drag queen show?
I don't watch that show.
Well, so everybody say hello to Rich Coleman. He will be with me on all of the Jaret Goes to the Movies podcasts. How you doing, Rich?
Hi, Jaret.
So just to give you guys a little bit of insight, this podcast was actually Rich's idea. We're gonna, as the intro said, we're gonna talk about some movies. We're going to talk about what those movies meant to us when we first saw them, what they mean to us now, the soundtracks. We're going to dive into all of it, the trivia behind it. Ironically, and just actually, I think it's our destiny. This is insane to me. So we sat at my kitchen table last week, and we decided that our first movie would be Back to the Future, which is insane because today, or the week that we're filming this, is Back to the Future Day week.
Today.
So, yeah, well, but it's Back to the Future 2. So here's the thing, like,
right,
I don't really understand, like, all of the posts are like, it's Back to the Future Day. It's not. It's Back to the Future 2 Day.
Right, exactly.
Which would be weird because it'd be Back to the Future Today, which Back to the Future Today doesn't really doesn't mean anything.
Because it would have to be 1955
today. But anyway, so we picked this movie, and the crazy thing about it is that this movie means so many things to me and to my career, and to just the fact that it was the #1 movie in 1985, and that was Bowling for Soup's biggest hit. You know, I think that sort of led into it being the first movie that we would talk about, and here we are, and it's everywhere right now. It is literally everywhere. It's crazy. It's ironic, and also I think nostalgic, and also it's orgasmic, and it is topical.
We didn't even plan it.
No, we didn't plan it. It was just we planned to talk about this movie, but we just thought
it was a good movie, and then all of a sudden
we didn't know that it was a whole thing. And the funny thing is that Rich and I are completely two different people. We're two different characters. We come from completely different backgrounds. We're completely different on probably all sides of things, but we do like to get together, have a couple of beers, and so his idea is like, hey, let's talk about Die Hard 3. And I'm like, no, let's not talk about that movie. But anyway, today is our first podcast. We are talking about the movie Back to the Future. And man, what an amazing movie. What an amazing run the movie has had.
Iconic.
And just an influence on so many things.
It really has, yeah. I mean, their technology is trying desperately to make sure that every single thing that happened in Back to the Future 2 is happening this year. I mean, before we were like, oh my God, we're running out of time. It's already 2015. We have to make all of these things happen.
The funny thing is now they're talking about, they were talking about on the radio today. It's like, these are the things that happened. These are the things that didn't happen. Here are the things that are going to happen in the next 30 years. Apparently, we're going to have trains that go 6,000 miles an hour.
Right.
Which, to me, that sounds insane on so many levels. There's no way. Like, you would literally be leaving your brain behind. It would just be like in a cloud behind you and catch up like Wile E. Coyote. Well, so I'll tell you about Back to the Future. So this movie came out in 1985. I was 13 years old. My brother took me to see this on a weekend, and my brother was graduating from high school in 1985, and he had gotten a brand new Trans Am for Christmas, and it had plates on it. My brother's name is Danny, and he got a Trans Am for Christmas, and so his license plate said Danzam, which was awesomely awesome. And so, like, anywhere I'd go, they would be like, hey, your brother is Danzam. And I'd be like, well, no, Danzam is the car that my brother drives. And then later in life, it'd be like, you're Bowling for Soup. And I'm like, no, my name is Jaret, but I'm in a band called Bowling for Soup, and it's great to be here. Thank you for having me. But he took me to see that movie at the same theater that I saw Return of the Jedi. I remember it like it was yesterday, seeing this movie and being like, Michael J. Fox is the coolest dude that has ever lived.
Yeah, I'd have to agree.
Yeah,
At
right?
the time, right, yeah.
And what's insane about that is that he wasn't even the first choice. In fact, he wasn't even the first guy that started filming this movie.
Right.
So I think a lot of people know now, but Eric Stoltz, who was the main character in Mask, was the first choice, and actually the guy who started shooting this movie.
He actually was not the first choice.
Oh,
it was
is that
actually
true?
Ralph Macchio.
Holy crap!
Ralph Macchio, because he had just come off of, I think, the Karate Kid fame stuff.
Okay.
And so he was the first choice. Then they did want Alex P. Keaton. This is in the trivia I read. They did want, but he was playing Alex P. Keaton. They had lost Baxter Burney. She was pregnant or something, so he had to carry the show more. And so they couldn't get him enough time off of Family Ties.
Yeah.
And so they did Eric Stoltz.
So I know it's a Spielberg film, right? And then it's the production is Zemeckis, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so all of these people are calling the creators of Family Ties, which was a sitcom. Those of you who don't know, who are listening to this from another country, we used to have these things called sitcoms, and they were these hilarious 26-episode things that we would watch, all based on reality of just the family life. And this one was called Family Ties. My gosh, how iconic would the film have been had it not been Michael J. Fox? You can edit this part out. My fiance was just holding the iPad up, showing the last porn that I looked at. I forgot to clear my browser history.
Let's not edit that out.
No, it's fine. You can leave it in if you want. So, I don't know what she's looking at. Why do you have you have your own iPad?
Mine's dead.
I don't look at your porn browser history.
Because I clear mine like a fucking professional.
Well, I get it. So the movie came out in 1985. It was such an insane year. I mean, and like the reason why I feel like this is such a good movie for us to pick is that my inspiration in so many things in life and in music and in just the way that I speak come from this decade.
So I texted my parents today because I could not remember when I saw the movie for the first time because I was like, I don't remember going to the theater at all, but I can't imagine because it was such a big hit at the time.
Yeah.
But I was in the 9th grade.
Mm-hmm.
I had just moved to Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, and it was like the most popular I've ever been growing up.
Right.
And so
they move you to the middle of nowhere, Kansas.
Yeah, well, it was near Kansas City, but it was such a small community, and it was like a bunch of kids, and we all just hung out. But so I was really popular at that one school, and I was always going and doing stuff, and I really wasn't paying attention to popular culture at all. So I don't think I saw the movie when it first came out. I remember seeing Rocky 4. By the way, in 1985, there was 1,000 amazing movies that came out. Breakfast Club, Goonies, Rocky 4, Rambo.
It's funny. Did all those movies actually come out that year? Because
Yes.
to me,
As a
that's
matter of fact.
insane. Here's why. Because I can place myself in so many places and all of them being different time-wise when all of those movies came out. Like, I remember when Goonies came out. I went and saw it with some kids from band camp. Eric Cotney was my best friend back then.
Back to the Future, The Goonies, The Breakfast Club, Mad Max, Beyond Thunderdome, Rocky
That's the one
4,
with
Clue,
Tina Turner.
A View to a Kill, James Bond,
View to a Kill.
Weird Science,
Oh my God, such a good one.
Rambo, First Blood Part 2.
Wait, hold on. So Rocky had First Blood Part 2
Yeah.
and Rocky 4.
Well, Michael J. Fox had Teen Wolf. Teen Wolf,
Yeah. And
Silverado.
wasn't
Commando?
Oh, good one. Hey, wasn't Teen Wolf like number 2 at the box office that year or no?
No, was not. Here's the box office. Back to the Future was 1, obviously. Rambo, Rocky 4, Color Purple, Out of Africa, Cocoon, Jewel and Nile.
Man, my parents took me to go see Cocoon. That movie.
Cocoon?
Yeah,
I love that
completely. I liked it too. It completely freaked me out. Completely freaked me out, like beyond belief. Like, so it's got the diabetes guy in there, and he takes the woman's son, his grandson. He's just like, and I'm gonna go to space, and I'm never gonna get sick. I won't grow old,
Right.
and I won't ever die.
Right.
And you just like look at the kid's face, and then Steve Guttenberg shows up, and he's just like, "Hey, I'm in another movie that isn't Police Academy," and everybody's just like, "Holy shit, he did a different movie! That is amazing!"
Finally.
And then Police Academy 6 came around, and career over. Man, what an insane year! That's crazy because I definitely did not see Breakfast Club that year. I think it was later on. It was definitely a few years later when it was a rental, and I feel like that's sort of how that movie got legs anyway. I do remember when Back to the Future came out and being like, I've got to get that jacket. And the jacket that I get...
The two-tone denim and then the life preserver.
I didn't have the life preserver, but then it became like this thing that they would have with like, it was like a two-tone denim with little leather inserts. Do you remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
That
I had
movement?
the jean two-tones.
Yeah.
Those were cool.
Okay, but see, here's the thing. The jean jacket with a two-tone denim couldn't match your jeans. Otherwise, it would look like you were in some sort of uniform.
Yeah.
You know? It seems
There were
insane.
plenty of kids that did that.
So my brother took me to that movie. It's his last year of high school, and, you know, he's going to go off to college, which is a whole thing for me. I was in the 8th grade, I guess.
I saw 3 movies that year. It was Rocky...
Rocky 4, right?
Rocky 4.
Yeah.
Hold
Hold on. What's your I Will Break You?
Yeah.
Is that your favorite line from Rocky 4?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I must break you. Break you. And is it crazy too that as you look back, and I realize we're a little off topic, but as you look back to that, and the Russian's wife was Rocky's wife at the time, Sylvester Stallone.
Right.
And she's about twice his size, and then she got on all the VH1 shows and showed her tits all the time.
You're talking about with that reality show?
Yeah, she was on like a couple of them. She was on. Then she was like doing it to Flavor Flav for crying out loud.
Right. They like dated for a while.
Yeah, which
That's
you know
disgusting.
we've all been there.
Yeah.
Oh wait, what's disgusting?
Those two together.
Oh, which one though? Bridget Nielsen
And
or Flavor Flav?
No, them two together.
Have you ever
as a couple.
seen either of them in person ever?
No.
Okay, I have. Bridget Nielsen. It's like, but that I don't even know. I don't even remember that at all. But I've seen Flavor Flav 4 times.
He
Once
looks like he's on crack.
once in New York at a show, once in New York at a coffee shop. Then once in Las Vegas, he was on the phone at the airport. Just, you know how people put as much money as they can in the slot machine and just hit the button as many times as they can? It's just like a speed thing. And so there's no telling, you know, how much he won or didn't win. It's an airport slot machine, apparently. And then once at the Billboard Awards and backstage, I had a drum off with him, and I won.
So I don't understand. How are you at the Billboard Awards?
Because I was presenting. I wasn't nominated. I was presenting. Yeah.
Normal people can't present. Why were you? I don't understand.
That's what I was doing.
Wait a minute. Are you famous or something?
Here's the thing. I presented, though, and the girl I presented with, remember the Playboy show where Hugh Hefner had the 3 girls?
Yeah.
The Holly, the main one or whatever?
Yeah.
What's that?
Madison?
Holly Madison?
Yeah, I guess so.
Holly Madison. Dude, is Holly Madison related to Dolly Madison? Because that's too much.
Not by birth.
Seriously, like zingers and titties? That's too much. You could actually just start calling them zingers at that point. This is stupid. But leave this in. Yeah, I like all this. Anyway.
Better Off Dead. Same year.
What?
Witness, Mask.
Mask?
Real Genius.
What?
Pale Rider.
Okay,
These
hold
are
on.
all
Back
1985
up.
movies.
Real Genius is one of my favorite movies of all time.
It's amazing.
Better Off
Some
Dead.
of the best lines ever.
Okay, agreed. Okay, now hold on. Off topic. Go. Better Off Dead. Favorite line ever.
This entire mountain
Is pure snow. Do you know the street value of this?
street value.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's good. That is good. I think I have to go with
French fries.
French dressing. All right, favorite line in Real Genius. Go. Now, I can quote this from beginning to end.
I can't
So,
quote it,
okay.
but I just know there's 1,000 things in there that I just love.
Oh my God. Here's the thing about all these movies is all of this is incorporated into my mind and it's how I speak. But I do think about this one line that he says, and he says, I was thinking about the immortal words of Socrates when he said, I drank what? He's going up the stairs. He goes, have you ever seen a body like this in your life? And the guy goes, that's my daughter. And he goes, well, I guess you have.
Silver Bullet. Do you remember that movie?
I do. That was.
I watched that movie. I didn't watch Back to the Future.
Is Silver Bullet with Corey Haim? Is that Corey Haim?
I think maybe.
Is it
Corey Haim? Yep.
And Gary Busey. That's what I was going to say. Holy crap.
Yeah. Lady Hawk, Red Sonja, and then Friday the 13th.
I stopped caring.
Fletch was 1985.
What?
Yes.
Okay, best Fletch line, go.
Dr. Rosenpenis.
Okay, good one. I'm going to go with...
My car just hit a water buffalo.
Yeah, can I borrow your towel for a sec?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to go with... He walks into the house, and he just... It's all quiet in there, and he just goes, Cujo? And then the guy comes in, and he's just like, I'm the mattress inspector. There are no tags on these mattresses. Oh, my God. He's 6'2", 7'3" with the afro.
That was my favorite movie until Jim Carrey, Pet Detectives came around.
Okay, so The Mask came out before Pet Detective.
Yes, that was his first movie.
So let's go back.
Most iconic movie title logo ever, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
You're using it for the podcast.
I am. Well, and the thing is, I do have to give a shout out to my friend Dave Pearson for doing that logo.
Thanks, Dave.
That was a logo that he did for Bowling for Soup, 4 or 5 years ago. And as we were putting this thing together, I was like, man, that makes a lot of sense. So, gosh, you're right. I mean, even just the looking at the watch.
Right.
The thing about the looking at the watch thing, I think that leads into sort of getting into the movie itself. The timelessness of this movie is crazy because even the looking at the watch back then sort of meant something, and now it means something completely different, sort of. In other words,
Explain.
We don't necessarily always look at our wrist for the time.
So do you think if they did the movie today, like they remade the movie today, he'd be looking at his cell phone?
I think it would be hard. Here's the thing. I don't know that this movie could be remade. And I'm going to tell you why. This is the first and only movie that I can remember where they, in the first, I'm going to say 15, 20 minutes, they literally, every other line to every third line is giving you something that's going to happen later in the movie. Mm-hmm. So the foreshadowing aspect of this, I don't ever remember there being a movie like this before. Like, as I sat and watched this again, I was like, holy crap. Even the opening scene. So let's go to the opening scene, all right? So the opening scene is like all these clocks,
Yeah. And one of which is Doc hanging from the clock tower.
From the clock tower.
Foreshadowing.
Exactly. Now, that's the thing. I was going to point that out, and I didn't know that I didn't know if you would have noticed that. I definitely didn't notice it before.
Oh, no, I never noticed it before.
And as it sort of got into all the, and there's one clock that's wrong, and I actually didn't sort of rewind. There's one clock that's off from everything else, and I couldn't figure out the significance of it.
Yeah, is it significant?
But it's got to be.
It's got to be,
It's got to be something.
Everything was had a purpose.
Yeah.
I think they even said that, too, in one of the commentaries.
Sure. And so, even as it's, dumping the dog food, I really couldn't, I was like, I remember being a kid and even watching this on cable and be like, is the dog not hungry? Like, what is happening? I don't think I put it together that, hey, they've just been gone a while.
Right.
Stealing nuclear things. How come everything nuclear comes with a road case?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, everything is always just in a form-fitted road case, and it's just perfectly... you ever try to buy a road case for an instrument?
Yeah.
It's a thing. You got to go through this whole process. Yeah. Apparently, if you just make anything plutonium-based... It just comes with a road case.
Is there special companies out there that make foam that fit the plutonium canisters?
Plutonium. Let's go back. So it just is scanning all these clocks. Right. And as you're scanning, other things start happening. The radio comes on. The radio is foreshadowing. The newscast comes on. Mm-hmm. There's been plutonium stolen.
Right. Which you don't even know when you first watch it.
But that's what I'm saying. So I made a list. You ready to hear my list
go ahead.
of foreshadowing that happens?
Did you write it on paper?
I did, actually. I wrote this on paper. So here's the thing. So I was going to say clock with the guy hanging.
Right.
I was going to say the newscast, the radio cast or whatever. I was going to say he sees so this gets out of the opening scene, but just all the foreshadowing that happens in the first 15 minutes. He sees the truck.
Right.
Wouldn't you love to see a truck like this? That's going to happen later, okay? My mom was born a nun, and then later she says, I never sat in a car with any boy.
Right.
That's all right there together, right? His dad is never going to amount to anything. What's the bald guy's name? The teacher. And he's also in The Longest Yard.
Principal.
Yeah, he's in The Longest Yard.
Statler.
Strickland, yeah.
I mean, I thought the coolest thing was just the directing on that first opening scene. When it's just panning down to his feet, you just see his feet. You see him walk in. They don't even show him yet. And then he puts the skateboard down. You see the dog food. And then he kind of kicks the skateboard off to the side a little bit. And it slowly rolls as he's looking around slowly and hits the plutonium. I mean, that's the whole scene was just genius.
It is.
It
and
really is genius.
It's genius beyond. And then even he starts to, okay, I'm going to wind up the amp. I'm going to make this a rock and roll
Still
movie.
haven't seen his face.
Yep, still haven't seen it. And then, of course, he hits the chord. It throws him backwards. The phone rings. It's Doc. Don't plug in the amp. He's got in the huge mirrored sunglasses we all used to wear.
All right, so the giant speaker. Let's talk about the giant speaker.
I like the giant speaker. Here's the thing that bothered me as a kid. Is that, oh my God, he broke that. Like, it's got to be fixed now. These are the reasons I have anxiety. I always think
to be fixed.
I think about the aftermath. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, who has the
Someone's
ability
got to clean this up?
Who has the ability to cone a speaker that big? My brother just bought a kicker box for his Trans Am. It's called Danzam. And there's a kicker box in there.
But he turns it to 11 and then hits it with a... I mean, what was he expecting to happen?
Do you know what I noticed this time, too? Is that actually... This is crazy, but... So watching it this afternoon, he has man hands. And his fingernails are dirty.
Maybe it was a stand-in
Maybe,
hand model.
Maybe, but I don't know. They kind of go up the sleeve or whatever.
Did you see the cord coming out from the middle of the speaker when he blew back?
Yeah.
I noticed that really bad this time.
Yeah. But one of the greatest opening scenes of all time. And who didn't just know that he was going to be late for school? And I love that his girlfriend's waiting for him at the door. Just like
a
no,
good girlfriend
you
should.
can't
Come
go
on.
in this way. You got to go in this other way.
I've been waiting
I
for
knew
you.
you were going to be late.
My only purpose in this movie is to make sure you're not late. So let's talk about the soundtrack.
All right, soundtrack.
Freaking rocks.
He does. I actually thought, I love Huey Lewis. I've always loved Huey Lewis. I think Sports. That album is so
My
good.
second concert that I went to was Huey Lewis.
No way. Was the
First
news
concert
there?
with a girl.
Was the
Thank you
news
very
there?
much. Yes, the news.
Holy crap! No way.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? But it was cool that I actually love the fact that he's like, I'm late for school. Bam, 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 bam. And then of course we get the
We go straight to the talent show.
After
Right.
he's late for school, we go straight to the talent show, and there's Huey Lewis, and it just I gotta say, it's just too loud. It's just too
I
loud,
just thought it
guy.
was funny he's rejecting his own music.
Right.
So, do you think the Jennifer girl was hot?
Jennifer, is that his girlfriend?
Yeah, it's his
at
girlfriend.
the time. Sort of. I mean, I think she's 80s hot.
Right.
I don't feel like it was long-lasting hot.
I had huge hots for her.
Did you?
Yes.
See, my thing is I had this Leah Thompson thing forever.
I didn't really have a thing for her.
Dude.
I mean, she was pretty.
I had this Leah Thompson thing from Space Camp, which I believe was like a couple of years before. Maybe it wasn't actually. Maybe it was after this. She had this scene in Howard the Duck where she would get into her panties, and I would actually set the timer on my VCR, and I would do it to myself with my hand.
I'm sorry?
I would do it to myself with my hand.
Do what?
Do it to myself with my hand on the VCR. Yeah, man, always had a thing for Leah Thompson for sure. Anyway, so back to the girlfriend. That's the question you asked. No, not really. I mean, I get it, and I thought it was nice, but...
She looks horrible now, by the way.
Does she?
2014 Jennifer, whatever her name is terrible looking.
I don't like that.
I don't know if she's had plastic surgery. Did you know why she was not in the second and third movie?
No, I don't know that.
Her mom came down with cancer.
Oh, no.
And so she gave up the role to Elizabeth Shue, who I really think was hot, but not in these movies. I didn't think she was hot in these movies, I thought she was hot in The Cocktail and
Dude, Adventures of
Babysitting.
That
Oh my
opening
God.
scene of Adventures of Babysitting, dancing around in the black pantyhose.
Michael J. Fox is 5'4".
Yeah, most actors are that are like that popular. You know, like it's funny because we did Bowling for Soup did a show at the Windjammer in Hilton Head, South Carolina. We were there, and Kiefer Sutherland was there, and he hung out all day. And it's crazy how short these fuckers are. But not only how short they are, but just how tiny they are. Like
You
they
mean,
look
all
like
actors in general?
just star. Like my
Stars, right.
friend Zach Malloy has this whole theory on famous people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it like goes back to Napoleon.
Right.
You know, if you connect Napoleon to Tom Cruise, I feel like it's fucking self-explanatory. Famous people are fucking small.
Right.
You know, unless they play sports, you know. So, anyway, I don't even know where that was going. But Kiefer Sutherland is a fucking tiny little shit.
Yeah.
Are we talking cast now? Is that what we're doing?
No, I mean, it was just something I put a note on there, and Doc was 6'1", and they actually had to, he had to lean, like you see him leaning over a lot.
Yeah.
He was leaning over because of there was such a difference.
And let's just talk about him in general. Let's just talk about Christopher
I thought
Lloyd.
he was perfect.
But let's talk about Christopher Lloyd. I don't think, maybe people don't put this together. He was on Taxi, of course.
Right, yeah.
But he has been behind so many things in entertainment. And currently, what is the number one sitcom on television?
Currently?
Yeah.
Big Bang Theory?
Modern Family.
Okay.
And who is the executive producer of Modern
Your
Family?
wife is disagreeing with you.
Wait, what is it? Is it Big Bang Theory? Now,
It's
How
not
I
on
Met Your
TV
Mother
anymore.
ended like 3 fucking years ago.
But he loves you.
But I love you so much.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
So he's a producer on that or something? What?
He is the creator of that show and has been the creator on so many shows. So Christopher Lloyd, if you just even search him, this guy's crazy.
One thing I noticed while watching the movie this time around, when Lorraine is present day, 85, and she's talking about about the first kiss.
Yeah.
I never noticed it before, but this time it really hit me about how miserable she looked.
Yeah, she's like hitting a bottle of vodka.
Yeah, I never noticed it.
And
I
thought
she was always happy whenever that scene came around, and this time it was just completely obvious that she was completely miserable, and I never got.
You could
that
hear it in
before.
her voice, though. You
Yeah.
know, and that's the thing is like I think that's something that they tried to put in there was like the misery in her voice.
so that the contrast when he came back.
But
that they're
even
all
in the
happy.
misery when he's laying in her room in the twin bed and she's putting the rag against his head, they sound the same.
Yeah,
She's a miserable soul.
yeah.
You know, she's just
empty. She's not
Not,
fulfilled at that
but you're
point.
right. I mean, that is like that's when I knew I was going to spend the rest of my life with him. And then she's topping off a glass of vodka in a free McDonald's glass,
Right, exactly.
You know, and then sitting back down. It's just like, you know, which leads me to like, you know, we're gonna have to eat this cake ourselves. She throws the cake on, and it's just like, you know, who's the uncle? Uncle Joey, I think it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Joey.
Uncle Joey is not. So again, back to my foreshadowing. I mean, just
exactly.
crazy because like after it, then he gets hit by the car. And she's like, Uncle Joey is not getting out of prison. He gets hit by the car. So you're my Uncle Joey, right?
Get used to those bars.
You know, get used to those bars, kid, you know? And she's like, we never take him out of there. He just cries when we take him out.
Let's talk about the special effects because I don't think they held up very well. I mean, I thought they looked horrible. I mean, obviously back in '85, this, you know, all special effects looked bad, but man, they really stood
30
out.
30 years, though, man. That's a long time. Like, think about this.
When did Jurassic Park come out?
But no. Don't think about it like that. Think about this.
91 or
So that movie came out in 1985, okay? So it's been 30 years since then.
Right.
Think about 30 years before that. I mean, they didn't even have ray guns and shit.
Black and white, wasn't
Yeah,
it? I don't
exactly.
know.
That's what I'm saying. So
I
they did
get it.
come a long way.
I don't remember. Well, actually, I do remember the fire under their legs. So when the DeLorean hit 88 and it took off, and then all of a sudden there's a path of fire under their feet. I actually noticed that that's not really fire under their feet.
Only
I
when
was
they
a
look
kid.
back. Only when they look back did you notice that, right?
Yeah, right.
Are you with me? Because at
But
that
some point
time,
I see it.
At that point, they're in front of a green screen and all
Right,
that. But
right.
you're right. Like, when did Star Wars come out? The first one.
Yeah, I mean,
When did Star Wars come out?
78.
Okay, so those special effects are pretty amazing for that time. And you could tell it's like lighter fluid on a parking lot. Coming through with a
Superimposed on top of
DeLorean.
yeah, exactly.
Which, by the way, let's talk about a DeLorean. So this came out in
Genius.
1985. I didn't know what a DeLorean was. In fact, I remember him doing the line like, "You built a time machine out of a DeLorean." And I remember still not knowing what he was talking about.
I had the DeLorean Matchbox car.
I didn't
when
even
was
know
a
that
kid.
that was a
So
car.
I knew the car.
Then this kid, his name was John. What was it? I can't think of it. Had a DeLorean in high school. And I swear to God.
In Wichita Falls?
In Wichita Falls. And I thought he just had the Back to the Future car. I didn't even know. I'm fucking 16, 17. Like, holy shit, he got the Back to the Future car. Like, it's no big deal.
There's only one.
Just went and got it,
Right.
It's fine. Rich dad. There's a lot of them. Everybody plays golf.
So the trivia said that they used that car specifically so that the scene when he went back in time and ran into the barn and then the family saw it, they would think it was a spaceship.
Yeah,
Right.
that makes sense.
Yeah. So you were talking about remake before. If we were going to do a remake today of this movie, and you're going from 2015 to 85, what car could go back in time 30 years and be a spaceship?
See, I think that's a hard question because
I don't
I
think you
wouldn't
could.
have picked a DeLorean in 1985.
You wouldn't have?
No, because I didn't know what a DeLorean was. I don't think anybody did.
I knew what it was.
Did you, though?
I had a Matchbox car,
Man,
yeah.
I don't know that everybody knew. I don't feel like everybody knew there was a stainless steel car. You can't just run that through the fucking car wash.
I think
by the way.
everyone that was not living in Wichita Falls knew.
Yeah. You can't just keep harping on Wichita Falls. That is part of our demographic here.
I mean, that would be tough because there's executives sitting in a
Dude,
boardroom
I don't
right
want him
now.
to remake this movie.
You know
I'm gonna
it's
make
happening.
this clear over all of these podcasts that I am not a fan of remakes, especially remakes of sacred movies, and I feel like this one doesn't need.
Especially if they don't add anything to it, like
I
Red
mean,
Dawn.
But
like, it
even like
didn't
then, what
do
would
anything.
you add to it? Like it'd just be the same as like why not remake a Beatles album or fucking remake. I don't know, man. I don't get it. I don't get remakes. I fucking hate them.
Flux capacitor, iconic,
Yeah, and nobody even knew what it was.
and they called it gigawatts. And forever, I thought it was a made-up word that started with a J.
Right.
And it's just gigawatts.
Gigawatts. Yeah. He was just saying it wrong.
Right.
Yeah, I love that. Like, and he talks even about like it's funny. Like you get the doc thing where he spent all of his family fortune, getting to this point or whatever, 1.21 gigawatts.
Yeah.
Let's get back to the music.
All right.
I think again, I think that this film, and I call it a film because I've been in 3 movies. You have to call these movies, by the way, because you haven't been in 3. Because I've been in 3 movies.
Okay.
So once you're in 3 movies,
Now that I know the rule,
you can
right.
call them films.
Right.
So you call them movies, and I can.
Well, you paid your due.
Yeah, I paid and I get paid a lot of royalties, 86 cents a year on Cursed. What you have that you don't have a lot of, unless it's an action movie, is orchestration.
Yeah, of the songs over.
Or behind every,
Right. But I'm just talking like soundtrack songs that were in the movie.
That's
You've
my
got-
fake
you've got
trumpet
Power
fart
of
sound.
Love.
Yes.
You've got Back in Time.
Yep.
2 songs that I think were genius.
Yes. Agreed.
And you've got Earth Angel.
Yes.
That was iconic when they did the first kiss. That was playing. And he like popped back up and started playing guitar correctly.
Yep.
And then you've got Johnny Be Good, which blew my freaking mind.
Yeah.
I mean, blew my mind.
When they did that.
Yeah, I was blown away by that.
Yeah.
I love that song ever since that movie.
I think that I wish they would have done better at casting the voice of him.
Yeah, it was a little
seemed
obvious, especially
because
now.
Here's the thing: even though it was,
And it's not like he can't sing either.
do you remember seeing Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Yes.
So remember when he was singing on the float?
Darling Donkashane?
Well, and shake it up, baby.
yeah.
Okay, so I fucking thought that was him. And maybe it's because I was younger. I don't know. When did that movie come out?
I don't know. I have to watch it again to know if
Yeah.
it's really him. 'Cause
Right.
I can really
It's
spot that
not.
stuff.
But the thing is like Donkashane and all that. Like I don't know. I just never bought into it. being Michael J. Fox. It just sounded like Bob Seger.
So, did you know Lindsey Buckingham had a song on the soundtrack?
I did not know that.
it's a song called "Time Bomb Town."
No way. And is it instrumental or
no? It's him singing, and it's something he wrote. And there's a reason why it's not in the movie.
Okay.
It sucks balls.
Yeah.
It's
is it a solo Lindsey Buckingham
Yeah,
thing?
it's a solo Lindsey.
Oh, interesting.
Because he's coming off of, he did Vacation a few years before. And so he's like soundtrack king. And I'm sure they go, Lindsey, dude, hook us up.
What do you mean he did Vacation? He did the soundtrack
Holiday
to
Road.
Is that
Holiday
Lindsey
Road.
Buckingham?
Yeah, that's... Yeah.
Did he write that?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
That's a brilliant song.
Dude, so good.
So good. So I'm sure they were like, oh, Lindsey, a couple years ago, you wrote this amazing and iconic, and then Vacation is Holiday Road. Mm-hmm. Come write us a song.
Let's do it. Yeah.
It was horrible.
Right.
It's bad. Go listen to it. It's on YouTube, Time Bomb Town.
Let's get into like characteristics of characters, because I do think Crispin Glover's character was so good. And you forget, like...
He's a weird dude.
Weird dude, but good-looking kid. And you don't...
Yeah, you look
until
at him.
you get to the restaurant, when he gets to the restaurant, and you look at that guy...
And he's doing the density scene, and I was looking at his face, and I'm like, God, he's like flawless.
Yeah, that dude is a good-looking guy.
Dude,
exactly.
But he weirds himself out, man.
He does. But I think in this movie... I think my favorite exchange, besides, hey, you get your damn hands off her,
right,
or hello, is anybody home, is the exchange between Marty and the diner owner.
Hello? Hello? Anybody home?
See, that's a good one.
Think, McFly.
Think. Yeah. Don't be so gullible, McFly. So good, but so as he's riding by on the skateboard in the opening scene, or the second scene of the movie, it's a yoga studio, an aerobic studio. And then he goes back, and it's this diner. And he gets in there, and he walks in. He's shocked at what he sees. The guy says, "What, you jump ship?"
Yeah.
He's like, "What? You're wearing a life vest."
Right.
I just want to use the phone, So he comes back out, and the greatest exchange that only our generation gets will happen. And here's why. Because all of these jokes that they do are 100% based on our generation at that time. So he comes out, he's just like, hey man, do you know where is it what 16th Street is or whatever? What's he asking for? And he goes, "Hey kid, you gonna order something or what?" Right. And he goes, "All right, man, just get me a tab." Right. "Hey, I can't get you a tab unless you order something. Just get me a Pepsi free." "Hey, you want a Pepsi? You gotta pay for it." "All right, just give me something with no sugar." He just goes, "No sugar, cup of coffee." Takes the quarter, and then the McFly thing starts. But that exchange, when I was that age, because Pepsi Free was a whole thing. So should we explain what Pepsi Free is? Tab is still a thing. Tab was like this. Was like one of the original sugar-free colas.
Tab is not a thing.
I think it is.
You cannot
dude.
buy a Tab.
I think
Tab had like a 5-year window.
No, I think it is still a thing. But if you like Pepsi Free. Was this deal that it was like the first like sugar-free, caffeine-free thing. It was free of everything.
Right.
Essentially, it was Sprite and a cola.
Right. I was Coke. Coke.
How did you feel about New Coke?
It tasted like Pepsi to me, which I didn't like, so I didn't drink it.
Agreed.
Here's my favorite soundbite.
He's a very strange young man.
He's an idiot. Comes from upbringing. Parents are probably idiots too. Lorraine, you ever have a kid who acts that way, I'll disown you.
Does he ever acknowledge that it's his grandparents, or is he just focused in on his mom?
I think he stays focused on the mom. I mean, I don't think it's like a mystery, but yeah.
I think I'd be more weirded out if I was sitting down to dinner 30 years in the past with my grandparents than probably I was my mom.
I don't know if my mom said this to me.
Where are my pants?
Over there. On my hope chest.
Yeah.
I've never seen purple underwear before, Calvin.
Calvin, why do you keep calling me Calvin?
That is your name, isn't it? Calvin Klein? It's written all over your underwear.
Calvin Klein.
I just thought that was genius.
So funny. Today I was bending over doing something around the house, and my son said, "You wear Fruit of the Looms?" And I just go, "Sometimes." That was the end of the conversation.
Whoa, this is heavy. There's that word again. Heavy.
Heavy.
Why are things so heavy in the future? Is there a problem with the Earth's gravitational pull?
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up too. Like, it'd be like if everything was, oh man, that is bad, man.
Why is
and
everything
people are just
so
like,
bad?
why is everything so bad? Is negativity such a good thing that it takes over positivity?
So this was actually an ad lib by Biff, the actor.
So why don't you make like a tree and get out of here?
I've said that line.
Is that true?
Yeah, he ad-libbed that. That's like one of my favorite things to say ever.
Oh my god, my favorite line by him was he goes, McFly, I have my car towed all the way to your house, and all you got for me is light beer. And he gets out of
I have your car towed all the way to your house, and all you got for me is light beer?
Yeah, and he gets out of Miller Lite with the current can, by the way. It made it. 30 years we made it.
30 years.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Sorry about your barn.
Yeah, sorry about your barn. You know, I just feel like there's so much about this movie that it is just timeless. There are lines in the movie that we say all the time. They're, you know, in everyday language, you know, like, hello, McFly.
See if you bastards can do 90.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the time travel, because I think,
Yeah.
and I think that we should probably sum up the movie with the time travel aspect. I had, as great as the movie was,
Yeah.
as much as I liked the movie,
Yeah.
I had a huge problem with the time travel.
Why?
First of all, you go back in time.
Right.
You change events that change what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah.
And you start to become see-through. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Well, you start to disappear from a photograph.
But you start to, or you do? I mean,
No,
obviously.
that's insane. But I agree. And
Totally
if you pick
insane.
it apart, the photograph is tangible, so the photograph wouldn't exist.
Yeah,
A
I mean,
person wouldn't. But I mean, like, it was a good premise of a ticking clock. It was basically like they turned over the hourglass and like, hey, your brother's disappearing, your
Right.
sister's
slowly.
Yeah,
And then when he disappears from the picture from your past,
yeah,
you still remember him
right.
clearly, vividly. I've got to keep going because my brother is disappeared off the picture that now has this giant gap in it.
Well, yeah, because you exist in this, you know.
It's ludicrous.
It is ludicrous.
It's dumbed down. It's seriously dumbed down.
Yeah, but dumbed down in 1985, again, where they had only been making movies for,
I guess so.
60 years, maybe?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely Hollywood dumbed downness.
Thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about I actually buy it because I thought it was well done with the introduction of the DeLorean, with the nuclear aspect of things, with like sending the dog and like the dog comes back
the
and like
going
the
back in
clock
time was
and
fine.
Is fine. Okay.
It was just
going
the
in-
picture that bothered me.
The
And him
picture.
playing guitar and his hand slowly
Starting to disappear. Yeah, that was dumb.
Yeah, I mean maybe
I agree, but I feel like I do feel like it was necessary to tell the story in the movie, and so I'm okay with it. I get it. I mean, I don't disagree. And like you're starting to hit bad chords and blah, blah, and then all of a sudden, Earth Angel, Earth, yeah, he's back, guys.
Springs back to life.
Watch,
And he springs back to life.
Blues Rivet G.
Not from anything he does. So he's still fading away and falling back because George is walking away.
And he's got to be up on that stage.
But he doesn't do anything to change his future. But George just turns around and makes a decision on his own to go kiss, knock the guy down and push him down and kiss Lorraine. And then at that point he springs up. But why wouldn't that already be in the future that he starts to walk away and then comes back and pushes him down? Why wouldn't that already be what's going to happen?
Because these things already happened. Here's the thing, because George was the guy who got hit by the car. So Marty comes in, and Calvin comes in.
But
he changes
already...
everything. Here's the thing. So their introduction is different. Like, he gets them out of the car, just walk away, McFly, blah, 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 all that stuff.
Hang on.
Yeah.
So once Marty stops messing with the present in 1955, so he's just up on stage, sitting down on the chair.
Right.
He's not doing anything.
Right.
Those events now are just happening and will always happen. So when George walks away initially, but then turns around and comes back and pushes him down and kisses Lorraine, all that was going to happen no matter what. So why is he disappearing? during those events. That's my point. So if George was always now, based on the events that are happening now, going to walk away, turn around, push him down, and kiss, then that means he's always existed, and then therefore he should have just been able to play the stupid song without clank.
That's wrong because it hadn't happened yet. So the future isn't. It's not. I mean, like, so had he? What if he changed his mind?
They happen. They were gonna happen.
Yeah, but what if he didn't punch him?
But Marty isn't messing up those events. They were
Hello,
always going
Rich.
to
Hello.
Anybody home?
Anybody home?
Fly thing.
Don't be so gullible, Rich.
I'm pretty sure you're gonna get some Twitter posts about that saying that Rich is right and you're wrong.
I don't know about that, man. I don't know. I think you're overthinking all of it. It's a movie. It's a movie, and it's a movie that impacted all of us. It's a movie that has wheels bigger than freaking Bigfoot. It's a movie that literally has shaped so many things, and I think in just cinema in and of itself. Like I just feel like, dude, Michael J. Fox. Let me tell you a story, Rich. 2002/3, I got nominated for a Grammy. Okay.
Wait a minute. What's that? You got nominated for a Grammy?
No, me and my band got nominated for a Grammy. And we went to the Grammys, and that year was the year after 9/11, I think, and they had decided, hey, we're going to have this in New York because we're going to pay tribute to New York and all of this. We get there, anybody is there. All the who's who in music. I'm meeting everybody. It's crazy. It's insane. And I'm fine. Michael J. Fox walks in.
What?
And I'm lose my shit. Because I didn't expect to see him.
What was he doing at that point?
That's the thing.
What was he in?
He was just having Parkinson's and coming to the Grammys. Like, that's the thing. That's why he was there. And he just showed up, and he was really nice, and I shook his hand, and
his wife is awesome.
He really shook my hand, and it was kick-ass, man. It was nice to see him.
Parkinson's jokes, they always kill.
Yeah, always. Yeah, my grandpa died of that, by the way. So, kill is the operative word here. So Here we go. Yeah, how do you feel about that?
Bring us all down there.
You like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And all that shit is true, ladies and gentlemen. Rich, this has been awesome. I love the fact that we get to do this one time ever. And
and that's it.
That's it. Guys, we're going to be building this. Please listen in. This is a lot of fun for us. I hope you guys enjoy it as well. Check out JaretGoesToTheMovies.com and please hashtag Jaret Goes to the Movies and all of your posts about this.
At Jaret Movies.
Yes, at Jaret Movies on Twitter. And hey, man, new Bowling for Soup Christmas sweater is out now. Go check that out at bowlingforsoup.com. That's all I got. You got anything to plug, Rich?
I'm good.
Yep, you sure?
Yeah.
Are you positive?
I have some things to plug, but it has nothing to do with
Yeah, okay. There he is. He's back. All right, guys, thank you guys for listening. We'll see you down the road. Y'all be safe.